Hey, welcome to Trastra. I'm Anton, and you're here because you like falling down rabbit holes. Very commendable, especially since crypto is probably the deepest rabbit hole in the history of humanity to date. Other than the story behind JFK's murder, of course, but just as dark. The amount of misconceptions, misrepresentations, misunderstandings, and just flat out lies around crypto and Bitcoin in particular is astonishing. So we're here to address all those in 15 minutes and discover as much truth about crypto as possible in this limited amount of time. But 15 minutes should be enough for you to realize that crypto and near crypto is a very exciting space as long as you keep your cool, don't get greedy, and research. In fact, we have a video on how and why get into crypto. I'll leave the link in the description or somewhere up there in the upper corners. Also, feel free to browse the channel and like what you see. And if you do, please subscribe. It's a great signal to our team that we're doing something right, and it inspires us to create even more gripping content. So let's get comfy. Let's do it. I give you the history of crypto and Bitcoin in particular in 15 minutes. Let's go. Contrary to popular belief, Bitcoin is not the first digital currency. The first digital currency was created in the 1980s by a man called David Choum, and his project was called Digital Cash. Following this, we had other projects like eGold, Hashcash, and B-Money, and some others, but none of these projects succeeded. And one of the main reasons is because they were centralized. They could be hacked or shut down at any moment. And in addition, these digital cash projects were not able to solve the problem of double spending. This is where a person takes the same piece of digital currency and they can spend it in 2 or 3 or even more places. So this was not practical. This would never work. But then in 2008, following the financial recession, a person or a group by the name of Satoshi Nakamoto released a Bitcoin white paper or a guideline to the first decentralized cryptocurrency that solves the double spend problem. We still don't know who Satoshi Nakamoto is, and frankly, I don't care. But the actual Bitcoin blockchain, I guess you need to learn what is blockchain first in order to realize the value of decentralized money put on the blockchain. Let me know in the comments if you want me to produce one or if you're content with running a search and finding it out the old-fashioned way. So the Bitcoin blockchain did not start until January 3rd, 2009 with the Genesis block, where the first Bitcoin block was added to the blockchain. And if you're wondering who was using Bitcoin in 2009, well, no surprise there. Computer scientists, cyberpunks, hardcore libertarians, and the more inquisitive criminals. These were the people looking for privacy. These were the people looking for a form of money outside of government control. And in the beginning, there were no exchanges, there was no buying, there was no selling. The way people got Bitcoin was by using their regular desktop computers and regular CPUs to mine their Bitcoin. Oops, another term of endearment you might not be familiar with. Again, let me know in the comments if you want to hear more about Bitcoin mining, and I'll produce a video for you. But anyway, it was a simpler time. It wasn't until May 22nd of 2010 that the first Bitcoin transaction occurred for a tangible asset. At that time, on May 22nd, 2010, a man bought 2 pizzas for the price of 10,000 Bitcoins, which at the time was not very much. That man's name was Laszlo Haddock, and today we celebrate him as the first ever real-life consumer to appreciate the value behind a fully decentralized monetary system that is Bitcoin. And we commemorate the seminal event by celebrating the Bitcoin Pizza Day on May 22nd. For perspective, today on May 24th, I think yes, 2022, 10,000 Bitcoins is worth about $300 million. So people laugh at this man, but the truth is, without this important transaction, Bitcoin might not have ever reached $1. You could make the case that this was the transaction that really changed Bitcoin, that really made it a legitimate currency. And following this, people started to take notice. In 2010, Jed McCaleb created the infamous Mt. Gox Bitcoin exchange where people could buy and sell Bitcoin. I think this was the very first exchange where people could do that. Actually, Jed deserves his own place in the crypto pantheon as a creator of Stellar and co-founder of Ripple, some of the most popular and technologically advanced blockchains out there. But I digress. Anyway, one point in 2014, Mt. Gox accounted for about 70% of Bitcoins in circulation. But in 2014, Mt. Gox was hacked, and we don't really know whether it was hacked or it was stolen or somehow something went wrong. But 740,000 Bitcoin were lost and never seen again. But with all the Mt. Gox's shortcomings, that was the time, the early to middle 2010s rather, when people realized that Bitcoin, this digital currency, actually can have value, it can be used, and people are willing to buy it and sell it as an asset. This was also a very important time. Now we need to talk talk about Ross Ulbricht, the poor Ross Ulbricht, the brains behind the Silk Road, which was underground, was kind of an underground marketplace. It was a darknet space. The site used Tor for anonymity and Bitcoin as a currency and facilitated the sale of pretty much anything legal that you can think of, from narcotics to spare parts for any kind of weapon systems. So it was in 2011 that Ross Ulbricht launched Silk Road, but in 2013, it was shut down. In February 2015, Ulbricht was convicted of conspiracy to commit money laundering, conspiracy to commit computer hacking, conspiracy to traffic fraudulent identity documents, and conspiracy to traffic narcotics by means of the internet. In May 2015, he was sentenced to a double life sentence plus 40 years without the possibility of parole. Ulbricht's appeals to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit in 2017 and the U.S. Supreme Court in 2018 were unsuccessful, and he is currently incarcerated at the United States Penitentiary in Tucson. So they shut down Silk Road, and logically speaking, this was the perfect time to completely outlaw crypto and drive Bitcoin out of the consumer view. But things don't work like that in the 21st century. With all the hubbub around Bitcoin and news reports and panels of computer scientists beginning to discuss Bitcoin, it started to gain some popularity, particularly in the computer science community. But one man, a young man, an awkward man, a Russian-Canadian brainiac, saw another side of Bitcoin and the infinite possibilities lying beyond Bitcoin's being only programmable money. His name was and is Vitalik Buterin. Vitalik Buterin became involved with cryptocurrency early in its inception, co-founding Bitcoin Magazine in 2011. In 2014, Buterin launched Ethereum with Gavin Wood, Charles Hoskinson, Anthony DeLorio, and Joseph Lubin, all current cryptocurrency A-listers. In fact, you do well Googling every one of those names if you're interested in the history of the cryptoverse. For now, let's just say that Gavin Wood is Polkadot, Charles Hoskinson is Cardano, and Joe Lubin is Consensus. Anyway, back to Buterin. In 2014, he co-created Ethereum, building on the work of Nick Szabo, another name for you to Google thoroughly. Szabo was the first to produce the smart contract concept in the early 1990s as a, quote, set of promises specific in digital form, including protocols within which the parties perform on these promises, end quote. In 1998, the term was used to describe objects in rights management service layer of the system, the Stanford Infobus, which was a part of Stanford Digital Library Project. And when Buterin and the rest of the team of Ethereum co-founders had managed to elevate Bitcoin to essentially a platform for smart contracts, Szabo embraced the project with his 2014 white paper describing the Bitcoin protocol as a weak version of the smart contract concept. From 2014, we start to see a big development around altcoins with very specific use cases. Exchanges like Coinbase, Binance, and dozens of others began to pop up all over the cryptoverse. Due to multiple hard forks, I'm not going to take the risk of explaining a hard fork to a non-computer scientist, so again, Google to the rescue, or let me know if you want me to produce a video on this absolutely fascinating subject, but kind of unattainable. Right, so many hard forks on the Bitcoin network were implemented over time, giving us Bitcoin Diamond, Super Bitcoin, Bitcoin Atom, Bitcore, even something called Bitcoin God. And the list goes on, leading us up to 2017, the year of ICO. In 2017, cryptocurrency exploded. This was maybe the greatest bull market of any asset in history of the world. This was the time Bitcoin 20x'd from under $1,000 at the end of 2016 to almost $20,000 at the end of 2017. As the kids say, this was the time the shit got real. Everyone was talking about crypto, from Uber drivers to Wall Street CEOs. And the reason Wall Street CEOs got so crypto curious is that they discovered an easier way for a company to raise money. Rather than going through the traditional Wall Street route, IPO, which is expensive and a regulatory nightmare, it turned out that it's enough to come up with a handsome website and throw up a white paper with an idea, the crazier the better. It turned out that luring unsuspecting rubes into an initial coin offering is much easier than selling used cars or Bibles door to door. Hundreds of thousands of investors poured $22 billion into initial coin offerings during Bitcoin's 2017-2018 bull run. And in that time, ICOs enabled hundreds of projects to raise the funds they needed on the promises to build the infrastructure for a new decentralized digital future, from large-scale data storage and fair payments for artists to complex new financial products. Ultimately, many failed to live up to their hype, and several ran afoul of the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, for conducting unregistered securities sales, but some had managed to deliver on their promise. Let me know in the comments if you'd like me to produce a video. It's like top 10 most and least successful ICOs in the history of crypto. Wow, I think it sounds awesome, so I guess I'm going to do it anyway. But anyway, so in 2018, at the height of the boom-bust era of the ICO, governments of the world began to realize that there's a lot of risk in this field. So I call this period the Recentralization Era. This is when we had people like Jamie Dimon, the CEO of Chase, coming out and saying that Bitcoin is a fraud. And indeed, when the tide of the ICO receded, the number of dead bodies it left on the shore was astonishing. The authorities began to take notice and come up with meaningful regulations trying to, put the genie back in the bottle. And the reason for that? Well, institutional investors wanted to make money in the space that eats the most successful stocks for breakfast. It's just that operating in the murky waters of decentralized finance is impossible for a regulated Wall Street entity, so they asked for regulations. And the SEC started to get involved with cryptocurrency while the governments of India and China have been merely tolerating it. By the end of 2018, Bitcoin was back to 4,000. The paradox was, as a speculative asset with exorbitant returns, crypto made sense only if unregulated. However, regulated crypto was passable as a payment system, but who needs crypto when you have Venmo, TransferWise, or Payoneer? And so crypto enthusiasm began to cool off, but not for long. As time went by and trillions of dollars of central banks' money printing made their way to households via fiscal policies of the Trump administration and the COVID nightmare, huge 2017-like rallies resumed. Today, while cryptocurrencies have been in a drawdown, Bitcoin and Ether remain 4 times and 10 times respectively more valuable than they were just 18 months ago. And over this period, the liquidity of cryptocurrencies significantly increased as many new players, like new exchanges, new service providers, etc., entered the crypto markets that are now large enough to allow for positions in sizes relevant to even the largest institutional investors. And that from that point on, people's minds started to open as many computer scientists, financial market participants, and digital entrepreneurs began to realize there's much more to cryptocurrency and blockchain than buying drugs and expensive pizzas. In particular, Bitcoin is an ideal store of value, for example. It's durable, it's portable, it's fungible, it's verifiable, it's divisible, it's scarce, and it already has an established history, so it's censorship resistant. In the words of the great Michael Saylor, quote, "If God came down and waved his or her hand and created the ideal money, it would indeed be based upon Luca Pacioli's modern accounting principles of double entry accounting introduced in 1494. He could then, God could then perhaps define 21 million units that are infinitely subdividable trillions and trillions of times each, and he could maintain that magic space, settling everybody's trades instantly everywhere in the universe in a fair and equitable fashion. Now that would be good money. We could call that a God coin, which would be perfect for instant transactions, never losing any information encoded with it. Well, the next best thing that we've invented is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the most efficient monetary system we've yet to implement successfully. It's humanity's first effective engineered monetary system. With its 21 quadrillion Satoshis capable of 350,000 transactions a second that cost about 10 basis points of the monetary network to clear those transactions and to secure the network. It stores the value and provides security to everybody on the network effectively for free after those transaction fees. And it's fair to say that Bitcoin's the most disruptive force of the century. In 12 years, it grew from nothing to $500 billion. That's the market sending us a message. And the next chapter is the mobile wave. We digitized our photos, we digitized our videos. Now we're going to digitize our money, and our currency and assets are going to flow to billions of people. One other point I wanted to make is that Bitcoin is not just an asset, it's a network, and it's a protocol. I'd say it's the world's first global self-settled real-time clearing bearer instrument on top of all those money characteristics that I mentioned earlier: decentralized, permissionless, global, immutable, scarce, auditable, instantly transferable, highly divisible, and so on and so forth. It is deflationary. People might lose some Bitcoin. They're never going to add more than 21 million anyway. You can transfer it around the planet. It's transparent. From a $100 smartphone, you can authenticate instantly anybody who's running a node. It's being continuously upgraded in the software layer and the hardware layer, and it's viral. It's spreading like wildfire. It's at a rapid rate, and it's only going to be better in 100 years. It's already getting smarter by the minute. I mean, talk about Lightning Network, and smarter, and it's getting smarter because the applications running on Bitcoin are driven by modern software and modern CPUs and modern service that keep getting smarter and faster, allowing millions of applications to serve billions of people. And I believe it's going to accelerate global commerce in the 21st century, and it's critical for allowing for safe and efficient operations in cyberspace. And with this thought, I leave you today. Please let me know in the comments if I'd missed something you wanted to hear about. I'll make another video on the history of crypto, Bitcoin, or if there's a particular coin you wanted me to take a look at, please let me know in the comments, or join Trastra Telegram channel and talk to our community. I'm sure you'll find some fascinating interlocutors there. In the meantime, again, thank you so much for watching. Please like the video, share it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and believe in crypto as we at Trastra do. Peace.